Hey everybody, it's Coach Geordie here, head coach of Ottawa Swimming. And once again today, I'm going to chat with you a little bit. This is not going to be a grand high-tech production, but I'm just going to talk a little bit about the other strokes. So why should swimmers practice the other strokes? First of all, we know that most swimmers, especially triathletes, it's all about front crawl. Well, there's a lot of benefits to working on breast, back, and fly. Your feel for the water, first of all, that intangible that allows you to grab more water and hold more water on your pull. Also strength, general power, your range of motion, it helps mobility, and it's fun, something different, challenge yourself, learn some new skills. So I'm going to talk about some of the keys and some of the simple drills that I use in this very short highlight of all three strokes. Of course, it could be hours and hours and hours, but I'm going to try to boil it down to what I think the average swimmer, intermediate or beginner can benefit from. So let's look first at backstroke. The first thing I'll do is talk about just the position. So when we're in backstroke, we want our nose straight to the ceiling. We don't want to be looking at our feet. Rarely does somebody have their head back too much, but often they're here. So we want that nose straight up to the ceiling. Just like when we are doing front crawl, we want shoulder rotation when we are doing backstroke. So shoulder out, recover, and continue to lessen the drag, lessen the size of your front. Recovery and entry. The hand leaves the water at the hip, thumb up, but as it comes over and reaches just pre-entry, it rotates to pinky down, so you're entering pinky down. So that leads us to the first drill. The first drill with fins on is to simply kick down the lane with one shoulder out of the water, and you should be able to peripherally see that shoulder. Now, I don't want you to turn this into side swimming. You're on your back, just shoulder out. The non-active arm is just on the side, and the lead arm is extended forward with the palm facing the side of the pool, because that's where the pull comes from. The lead arm position, as I've talked before, we don't want it to be on the surface. Now, if there's shoulder mobility limitations, it'll definitely come up to the surface unless you really focus on it. So we want that hand to be slightly lower than shoulder height. So you're kicking down the pool on one side, you get to halfway, 12.5 meters, and you do a slow stroke, working on this recovery. Thumb up, rotate, and now we're in on the other side. Working on this slowly, getting used to that shoulder popping out of the water is really beneficial. The pull, a lot of people just windmill when they do the backstroke. Perfectly fine. However, you should know that we're trying to pull with the forearm, just like we do in the front crawl. So instead of a high elbow, in the case of the backstroke, we want a low elbow. So we're entering back here with the palm facing to the side, and then we drop the elbow to try to get the forearm engaged in the pull. So the pull happens sideways. It doesn't happen really deep. So one of the ways to practice this, again with fins on and a gentle kick, is to, and you imagine that I'm horizontal here, is you slice your hands forward underwater and then form a W, basically. Elbows low and push the water towards your feet when you're on your back kicking with your forearms like so. Hands should be submerged. So we're grabbing the water, nice catch, and pulling both hands. So that will help a little bit with regards to the pull. I'll do the turns for all three strokes in another video. Breaststroke. First of all, the kick. Man, for your recreational adults that haven't done much breaststroke or any, the whip kick is a limiter. It can be really tough. And it's tough because it requires a great deal of internal rotation. Now, I can do a whip kick, but not a great one, because my legs just do not go internally rotated very well. So the proper kick with the internal rotation is great to do, and I'll show it to you in a second. However, a lot of adults should avoid it because it does put, if you try to do this when you're kicking, puts a lot of pressure on the medial knee. So we don't want to injure the knee or put it at risk. But what we're doing on a whip kick is we're tucking the knees in, rotating the feet out, and then it's a whip motion like so. So it's dorsiflex, pull in, externally rotate, and kick. It's a very powerful kick if you do it well. We're using all of this surface here. Now, for people, the majority who, well, I won't say the majority, probably 50-50, who are unable to do a whip kick due to not having developed the skill or due to a mobility impairment or normal mobility that just doesn't go that way, then I invite them to do a frog kick. So with a frog kick, we're going to bring the legs open. We're going to go into a squatted position and then pushing the bottoms of our feet slightly to the outside. We end up in the same position. The medial knee is protected, and this will certainly get you disqualified in any racing. So don't do this in any racing, but just recreational swimming, a frog kick is a better option. Now, let me stand back up. We'll talk about the pull a little bit. It's a very short pull. So the way that I introduce the pull, oh, I should add regarding the kick. What I'll have people do to practice their kick is to hug a board to their chest and to do it on their back and practice keeping their knees submerged, either with the frog or the whip. That's level one. Level two, they can grab the board, put it over their head and kick that way as well. But I find people are super comfortable with on their chest, they have a little more time. So the first thing I do when I'm teaching the breaststroke pull is I teach sculling, and sculling is a skill unto itself. So when we're sculling, which is a big drill for front crawl as well, we're trying to, I'll just have people do it standing. So they'll stand, squat down in water just over their waist, put their arms in, the elbows are as far forward from the shoulder as mobility permits, and the forearms are vertical. And then it's like windshield wipers. What we're trying to do is push the water in and back, and then we rotate the wrists and push it out and back, like so. So we're getting a little bit of forward pull. What this does is helps you to get a feel for the water. A gentle kick with fins on and doing a little bit of a dog paddle or a breaststroke when you need to breathe, but otherwise the head is down, watching this motion. So that drill, really great for all swimming, getting a feel, but it teaches people this double catch position out front. Because the pull is really short, what we're doing is we're going just outwards a little bit, but getting it into a double catch position. And then it's a short pull, elbows just to the shoulders before we recover back up the middle and go back into our catch. So the sculling helps that. And then we've got the kick. So then I'll have people do the kick and start to do the stroke itself. As you see, it's almost like a small circle, and that cue helps with some swimmers. Now, when you put it together, timing is really important in the breaststroke. And there's a habit or a tendency for a lot of swimmers to pull at the same time as they kick. And that helps, that decreases your streamline, decreases your power, very inefficient. So what I'll have people do is exaggerate the kick and pause. So what they'll do is they'll do a kick, pause, pull, kick, pause, pull. I'll have them pause for a second. What you'll find is if they do pause, or if you pause as a swimmer, you'll get a longer glide out of your kick. It'll be more relaxing and more efficient, quite likely faster as well. So when you continue to breaststroke, you'll find the ideal timing, but initially exaggerate that glide. So that's backstroke and breaststroke, some of the things that I do. Now the fly is a little different. Whereas in one session, you can cover the important aspects of backstroke or breaststroke, fly requires a great deal of strength. And it's the kind of stroke or the kind of activity that needs to have building blocks over a series of weeks and even a couple months. So here are the building blocks. First of all, the kick. I do a lot of one leg kick as it is, because a one leg kick in the pool exaggerates the motion and the hip drive, which is something that a lot of swimmers are lacking. So love the fins to make things a little easier and increase ankle mobility. So what they'll do is a one leg kick, and it's not half a flutter, it's half a dolphin. So it's a big slow kick, hip driven. So it's kick and back, kick and back, kick and back. And that's about the tempo in the water. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. They go 12.5 meters and then change legs. Small tip on the one leg kick, if you keep your non-active leg slightly bent, helps to disengage it, minimizes its movement a little bit. So first of all, we've got the one leg. After a week or two of working on the one leg, then we go dolphin. What's dolphin? It's simply 2 times one leg. But that said, new swimmers are definitely challenged by it. What we want to focus on is the butt. The butt has got to be going up and down, which is evidence of hip driving or hip drive. So both hips in, both hips out. Same tempo, 1 and 2. Imagine swimming like a mermaid is a good cue for a lot of people. Imagine your fins are attached. What will help a lot of people is after a couple kicks with head up is to put their face in the water. That will help them to get that full body motion that starts with the chest and comes all the way through the body. It's a very challenging kick for new swimmers, but they'll get it. What they can do is mix up some dolphin with some one leg or some flutter. So that's the kick that can be worked on over the course of a few weeks. Now, the pull is a very explosive pull in butterfly. So the best way to prepare for it is with some one-arm swimming. We covered that in the last video. So one-arm swimming, we're getting lots of propulsion just with that one arm. And then we can add a paddle to that after a week or two. After 2 or 3 weeks, let's say, add a paddle and we're getting a little more strength. And what this sets us up to do then, because they've got the coordination of the one arm, is to change the kick from a flutter, which you typically use with one-arm swimming, to a dolphin. So one-arm dolphin, that is realistic for the vast majority of swimmers out there. Two-arm dolphin, not so much, all right? But when they do one-arm dolphin, they feel very accomplished. So with one-arm dolphin, we are pulling on the second kick. So we're going kick and pull and breathe, kick and pull and breathe, kick and pull and breathe. Not the best demo on my feet here, but changing arms halfway down, or you can kick and breathe, alternate, kick and breathe, kick and breathe. The timing of pulling on that second kick will come with practice. Of course, the option there as well is for a double pull for our stronger athletes, and they can fool around with it. They can throw in a couple double pulls, some single pulls, alternate or whatever. But the double pull, we're looking kick and pull, kick and pull. You'll be very surprised if you put the building blocks in place at how many of your athletes will be able to do butterfly, which is considered out of reach by many initially. But be patient, build the skills, build the strength, and they may be doing some butterfly. So regardless as to whether you're a triathlete who will only ever expect to do front crawl, try the other strokes because they're fun, it's challenging. You'll build feel for the water, you'll build power, and you will increase your mobility. You'll become a better swimmer and be more comfortable in the water. I'm Geordie McConnell for Ottawa Swimming.